Welcome to the Badass Breastfeeding Podcast. This is Dianne, your lactation consultant.
And this is Abby, the badass breastfeeder. Whoopsie, I almost threw everything off the desk. Today's episode is brought to you by Rumble Tough. The Rumble Tough Breeze is a top-of-the-line breast pump with a rechargeable battery that fits in the palm of your hand. And today's episode is also brought to you by Larkin. Larkin is a mom-owned line of game-changing maternity and postpartum essentials like nursing and pumping bras, which we will talk about later. But these sponsors make this podcast possible. If you need anything, head to badassbreastfeedingpodcast.com and check our sponsor page and see if you can give them any of your business. There's awesome stuff there, and they're bringing you this podcast every week. And while you're there, scroll down, enter your email address, and we'll send episodes straight to your inbox every week. I swear we will. People do it. We send them. It's not a lie. And check out our shop page, too, of our awesome merchandise we designed ourselves with some lots of snarky stuff, like the my favorite 2-star review.
I love that one. Oh, my God. My favorite.
And we are on Patreon. Patreon is a community of patrons who sign up for a certain tiers. There's various tiers of benefits, such as mini podcasts, extra episodes, ad-free episodes, and live Q&As. You could check out each tier at Badass Breastfeeding Podcast Patreon, which is the very top link in the notes of wherever you're listening from. And we are interacting there. We have, conversations there. What's said in Patreon stays in Patreon. So I can't tell you too much, but you can come by and you can share and you can offer advice too. And it's really a fun space. And our latest patrons, Molly M, Elizabeth C, and Angela H, welcome. And we are still hosting our ongoing giveaway for people who leave reviews around the internet. iTunes or anywhere else that you are listening from, kind of app that allows you to lose reviews or leave reviews and stars or anything. Yeah, whatever. Thumbs up. I don't know what the hell people are doing out there. So if you take a screenshot of that and you send it to badassbreastfeedingpodcast@gmail.com, we will send you a goodie bag of stickers and thank you for nursing in public cards. And now Dianne, here's our review of the week.
And it says, I am currently pregnant, first-time mom. I always thought to myself I would formula feed. I just didn't want to deal with all the hassle of breastfeeding and the way everyone made it seem so hard. I'm now feeling so much more confident in choosing to breastfeed, and I'm actually excited. I'm so glad I found this podcast. I've already learned so much, and I can't wait to have these two lovely ladies along with me through my breastfeeding journey. I love that she was like, I'm not doing this, and then started listening to a breastfeeding podcast. So
I know. I want to know what that day was like.
I know. So she's my girl for that.
Yeah.
Freaking love it. But I'll tell you, I tell people all the time, I chose to breastfeed because I thought formula feeding would be too hard. That was my main, I was like, that seems like a lot of work. And how do I know which one to use and how much to give? And what if they don't like it? Then what do I do? How do I switch? It just seemed like so much. And I had so little education about it. I love that she's like, I'm not going to breastfeed, but I'm going to listen to this breastfeeding podcast. So we are here for you. I cannot wait till that baby's born. You'll have to let us know how it goes. Oh, that's awesome. Congratulations to you. Yeah, so awesome. And we're going to talk about people being pregnant today, aren't we?
Well, people trying to be.
Well, trying
to conceive. Yeah, so you know that spring is in the air when people start messaging and asking how they can get pregnant while they're still breastfeeding. So people are on it. The snow is melting and people are like, all right, let's go. So, people are becoming really empowered to breastfeed and to breastfeed longer and things like that. But then they run into well, I want to have another baby. So how, I haven't got my period yet. Am I ovulating? I don't know, and like, so breastfeeding affects these things. And so then people are like, well, wait, no, so how I want to have another baby. How do I get pregnant? And you can. And I have a couple of messages here. But also the other thing is that people are having babies later. People are older. And that's great. The slut era is like longer, we love that. I was 35 when I had my first. And then I know what it was like by the time I was like 37, I was like, uh-oh, if I want to have another baby, I should probably do it soon. Because you're just older and your body's expecting to, close down shop soon.
I think the average age I see now is definitely, it's no longer 25 to 30. Yeah. It's really not. You're seeing a lot more of like 32, 38, 30, anywhere from like 32 to 38, a lot. And then over 40. I have a lot of parents that are over 40.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you have people who are like, they're breastfeeding, their period is not coming back as quickly, but then they're, breastfeeding toddlers and they're like, well, wait a minute. And I want to have another baby. I'm getting older. What do I do? And I got a couple of messages to read because people are asking. So it says, I love listening to your podcast. I have a 9.5-month-old daughter, and I'm wondering if you ever did an episode where you talk about trying to conceive again while breastfeeding. My period has not returned. I'm a stay-at-home mom. So with my daughter 24/7, we co-sleep. She doesn't take bottles or pacifiers. She eats some solid foods, but nurses frequently day and night. Any supplements? Decrease exercise? Increase food intake? Just patience? Any advice would be appreciated. I'm 37, so I feel the clock. So, so here we have a situation, right? And I will say, I remember this. And I remember asking in a Facebook mom group, those. I said, my baby is like, I think Jack was like 6 months older. I don't know what the hell we were thinking. And I said, is there any way I'm pretty sure I had my period back by then, but I don't know. I was like, I want to get pregnant. Is there any way to like do that? And people were like, feed more foods, feed like heavier foods too. So they'll go longer without breastfeeding. Spend a night away from your baby, so they're not nursing for like a whole day is what I was told too.
That's not going to do it.
No. And,
Who wants to do that? Yeah.
I know. And so we have, this is what we're talking about today. So we have, on one hand, we have this breastfeeding relationship with our first child. And then we have this desire for a new baby. And those don't always go together. They don't always click. So what's the priority? What is your priority is what you're going to need to decide. Is this breastfeeding relationship your priority? I mean, if your baby is less than 1 and you get pregnant, either on purpose or by accident, you're going to run into a situation where you're going to have to be looking for donor milk or formula or something because your milk supply is going to take a hit once you're pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a situation.
And that comes up a lot where people already are pregnant and they're like, and then they'll reach out and be like, okay, my supply has dropped. What do I do? And it's like, there's really no way. And this came up just recently in a lactation consultant group I'm in. Any suggestions for this? And we're all like, there's really not. You can't fight those hormones.
No.
Because that's what's causing it. It's not a regular like, okay, the baby's not nursing as much. My supply is dropping. It's hormone related. So you can't really get that back.
No, I mean, your body is like, okay, there's a fetus here that we need to start preparing for. Your body's not going to be like, oh, well, let's just keep some milk for this other. Like, no, your body's all hands on deck for this new baby.
Yeah.
Which it should be. So this is what, there's also a reason why your period isn't back yet. Why you're ovulating not yet. Because while you're ovulating not yet, I said like Yoda. This is the time your body is taking a break. Your body is like, I need time to recover.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not ready to have a baby yet. Which is one of the reasons that breastfeeding, has that effect on your ovulation, because it's time to it's taking a break. And there's not, you could stop. So the only thing you can do is like stop breastfeeding. And then eventually it might come back. Well, I mean, eventually it will come back either way. But maybe it'll come back faster if you wean. But is that what we want? I think that's what you have to ask yourself.
Right.
And so she also asks, are there any supplements that you can take to bring back ovulation? She says, she asks about Vitex, Vitex.
I have no idea what that even is.
I don't know what that is. And I don't know if I would recommend any supplements to bring on ovulation. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that at all.
Decreasing exercise.
That doesn't have anything to do with it either.
Doesn't do that either. Oh, Vitex is like a shrub native to the Mediterranean and Asia. The fruit has been historically used for reducing sexual drive.
Oh, I can't imagine that would help with ovulation. Oh, why would that seems counterintuitive?
Well, it says Vitex agnus castus fruit and seed contain chemicals that seem to affect many hormones involved in the female reproductive cycle. Yeah, I'm going to say that we don't know enough about that to recommend that. Increasing your food intake is not going to bring on ovulation or bring your period back any sooner. So there's really nothing that you can do. There's no like medications. There's no like things that you can change to your diet. There's no things like that in your life that you can like change to bring on ovulation. And I have another message too. Okay. So this one says, I need advice. Breastfeeding went well from the start and I have no complaints, other than the fact that my daughter feels that it's her right to play with my other nipple. Okay. While she's attached to one, I could not have asked for a better breastfeeding journey. Okay. So breastfeeding is going really well for this person. I want to try for baby number 2 now that my daughter is 16 months. I have the following problems. Number 1, I have not yet had my period, and everyone says I must stop breastfeeding before things will return to normal. Number 2, we're still breast sleeping, and my husband thinks, and everyone tells him, that me breastfeeding her still is ridiculous and that I am undoing all his hard work of getting her to bed on her own. Okay, so there's a whole lot to unpack there.
Oh, dear.
For the purpose of this podcast, we are going to talk about the 16-month-old, and she has not had her period yet and is being told that she has to stop breastfeeding in order for things to go back to normal. So at 16 months, eventually your period is going to come back.
Right.
And you will likely ovulate before the period you see the period. So the thing that you can do is have sex. That's the only thing you can do, is just have sex and be hopeful. And at 16 months, really, your period is going to come back at some point. Either way, it's going to come back at some point. But at 16 months, you have less to be worried about if you do become pregnant and then your supply takes a hit. You can still kind of like breastfeed through the time where your supply is not full. And tandem nurse and all of that. When you have a younger baby, like a 9.5-month-old, like the first person, that's trickier.
But like you said, a lot of this comes down to what is your priority. And the one with the 16-month-old, she's like, we have a great breastfeeding relationship. We're still doing all the things. She really has to weigh that with having another baby. Like, does she really want to wean? Like, what's the priority there?
Exactly. Right.
But she wants both things. And you can you don't even have to completely wean. I know everybody says, oh, you have to totally wean,
right.
But you don't really have to.
I mean, and that's why a lot of times in that second year or so, your period will come back because your baby is starting to eat more solid foods. They're busier, they're nursing less. And then your periods, your body starts adjusting to that and your ovulation will return.
But your body is set up like this.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Take a break.
Yeah, let's take a break and then talk some more.
Okay, perfect.
We'll be right back. Today's episode is brought to you by Rumble Tough. The Rumble Tough Breeze is a top-of-the-line breast pump with a rechargeable battery that fits in the palm of your hand. The powerful motor lasts 2,000 hours and has a 2-year warranty. The memory button allows you to record your most effective pumping session and recall it every time you wish. Combine the Breeze with the Rumble Tough Go Cups and you're pumping hands-free and on the go. Every Rumble Tough pump user qualifies for free pumping support with an IBCLC. Because they care, each pump comes with a manual handle kit to convert your electric pump into a manual pump at no extra cost. You should not have to figure it out alone. Let experts help you get the support you deserve. Additionally, every pump box includes a flange fit ruler so you can determine which of the 15 flanges they offer will fit you best. Yes, nipple size matters. Check out their entire line at rumbletough.com. That's RUMBLETUFF. Rumbletough.com. And use code BADASS to get 20% off of your purchase. Today's episode is also brought to you by Larkin. Larkin is a mom-owned line of game-changing maternity and postpartum essentials designed to make your life easier and more comfortable. In particular, their Larkin X all-in-one nursing and hands-free pumping bra is a totally different take on the traditional nursing and pumping bra. The first of its kind, it's made without any irritating elastic, awkward holes, snaps, zippers, clips, or other hardware, so you can comfortably wear it day and night without ever having to change bras to nurse or pump. Its buttery, soft, stretchy fabric won't irritate or stick to your sensitive skin, and it is machine washable. This thing is so cool. I went on a whole rampage when I first saw this thing. You have to go to look at it. Check out the Larkin X bra and the rest of their incredibly cozy must-haves at shoplarkin.com. That's shoplarken.com. Or you can visit their Instagram at Larkin_shop, and you can use code BADASS for 10% off of your order. And all of our sponsors and their promo codes can be found at badassbreastfeedingpodcast.com. And, ouch. Sorry. Oh my God. Once again, almost emptied my desk. At badassbreastfeedingpodcast.com. You can find all of our other episodes and information about scheduling your very own one-on-one online lactation consultation with Dianne.
I do have one of their tanks from Larkin.
Oh, you do?
One of their tanks. Yeah, it is fantastic. The
it's
material
so cool.
is amazing. Yeah, the material.
That pumping bra is it's really hard to describe it. It's like 2 layers, and you can lift up one side, and then you lift up the other side, and it creates like an X, and then you can put the flanges in there. It's just you have to see it. It's really cool. So yeah, go check it out.
Go check it out.
And okay, so trying to conceive.
Yeah, so your body is really meant to space out kids. And I know that we do kind of get into this place right now where people are like, I want to have another one right away. The clock is ticking. Or sometimes it's a situation with like IVF and you've got, I don't even, I'm not as educated on IVF stuff. I know a little bit, but, you've got eggs to like whatever's going on with IVF and people want to use things, do them as soon as they possibly can. But around the world, like this is how people space their kids, because this is how you go a couple of years between children, and your body is actually supposed to have a 2-year break to reboot. Like everything, your body is completely depleted when you have a baby of vitamins and nutrients and all these things, because everything is going to the baby, that your body needs time to like catch up again and to heal. And this is why it takes a while for your period to come back.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's hard to, your body goes through so much growing and birthing a baby. And it really does need that time to recover.
So that's why it happens. It's not trying to
it's not trying to mess with your plans. It's like, it's trying to be ready again. And I think if your period is not back, it's kind of letting you know that like, it's not ready to be back.
Right. It's like a message. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's not to say, because I was there. I was on the internet trying to figure out like how I could, mess with the system, and get pregnant and have the next baby. And I think when you're ready, something just comes over you. You're just like, we are, we're here to reproduce, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like something just biological comes over us and we're just like ready. We're just ready. And that's cool. That's fine. That's how, that's how we are. But then knowing, balancing that with the relationship, the breastfeeding relationship that you currently have, and wondering and thinking about whether, another year or so is better, to maybe wait another year. It's not, you don't have to wait 5 years. You don't have to, you don't have to wait that long. Except when you're in it, it feels like a really long time. It feels like, I need to get this done. I need to do this. In another year, I'll be another year older. Your body doesn't like just shut down overnight. It is a very, very long process. Like menopause, you're going to be able to have another baby when your body is ready.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I do think with IVF, I know there's a couple of people who have asked about IVF as well. I just really feel for these people that have to go through so much. And I know that it is like so expensive. And you're literally like putting all of your eggs in one basket and, really hoping that this will work. And if if you are in this situation and you are, if you're told to wean, I mean, like Dianne said, I don't know that much about it either. I know a lot of people are told that they have to wean before they can do like another round or whatever round of IVF they're doing. And honestly, I would just like take the advice of whatever doctor you're working with, because this is like people put like tens of thousands of dollars into this, don't they?
Yeah. I mean, it's so frustrating to me that this stuff isn't covered for people, but
yeah,
a lot of money. I mean, people put a lot of money into it. It's
crazy amount of money. And if you're just like, well, we're in this situation, I need to wean because I have this IVF situation, then like, man, do it. Like, do whatever you need to do, because that's a different situation in my mind.
It's a whole different
I feel
story.
like that's just a whole different story. Like, you got to just do what you got to do. If you're just like the average person, you're kind of, your period is, you don't know when your period's coming back, and, you're really, your breastfeeding relationship is going really well, and you really do want to, because a lot of people, me included, I wanted to tandem nurse. I didn't want to wean. I didn't want to fully wean. I wanted to nurse through my pregnancy. I told you, I saw that it was all because of a picture I saw on the internet. A picture on the internet, like paved the path of my life.
Oh my gosh.
I saw this picture. I got to find it. I reposted it again, like, I don't know, a couple of years ago. And the person in the picture commented like, "Oh, that's my picture."
Oh my God.
It was like a celebrity. I know. It was this woman in a birthing, one of those, oh my God, I was in one. Like a home birth.
Oh,
you
like
have
a
like the
birthing
birthing tub. Yeah. Like the inflatable thing.
Yep.
She was in there and she had her new baby on her chest nursing. And then she had her toddler had gotten into the water and was nursing on the other side. And I was like, holy shit. What is going on in this picture? Like, what is happening here? This is so cool. Who is this person? Oh my God, it's amazing. And I was just like, I want to do that. I want to I just want to have that. So I didn't want to wean. I wanted to mess with the system. I wanted to see if I could mess with the system, if I could decrease my breastfeeding a little bit, if I could do these kind of, funky things that people were suggesting, like feeding more solid food to try to decrease the breastfeeding a little bit, but not get rid of it fully. And it didn't work. It just didn't work. First of all, Jack was like, "I'm not eating any more of these solid foods. Like, I'll smear it on my face, but like, that's about it." He didn't eat really a lot of solid foods until he was like 2 years old. He was just nursing constantly. And, I was not about to spend a night away from him. I just was such an anxious parent. I was. I'm not anymore. I'm totally fine now. I was like so anxious that like I didn't want to spend the night away from him. That piece of advice was like, no. But I remember someone very kind of sternly talking to me in the group and was like, you need to figure out what your priority is here. Like, is this more important than is having a new baby more important to you than like your breastfeeding relationship with this, and I was like a little bit hurt, but I was like, yeah, okay, I need to think about that. And then it didn't matter anyway, because none of it worked. And my body just, I got my period back, when I don't remember, it was really early, but that didn't even matter because I still didn't get pregnant for quite a while. I mean, Jack was 2 into his 2s when I did get pregnant. And I think that my body just did it when it was ready.
Yeah.
And I was 37 when I was 35, 36, freaking out about how I needed to have a baby. And then I was like 37 when I got pregnant. So it wasn't, I think when you're in it, you're thinking, this is so much time. My body is changing. This clock is ticking. It's an emergency. But really it's not a lot of time in the grand scheme of things, in the whole biological clock ticking timeline. It's not a lot of time. And the only thing you can really do is just continue to have sex. And if you just continue to do that and be patient, that's the hardest thing to do. And I hope that this whole episode doesn't sound like judgmental on people who want to have a baby, because I hope I shared enough of my own story that I was there. But the lesson learned was like, it really is just not going to happen until your body is ready. And there are no magic quick fixes.
And that can freak people out too if they think, oh my gosh, what if I, wean or what if I get my period back and I still don't get pregnant, right away? Like, then what? Which makes them want to like start sooner or whatever. But your body is just going to do what your body's going to do. And, if you want to go the medical route, you can absolutely do that. And they'll probably will tell you to wean, and they can give you medication for you to ovulate and all that stuff. But if you're trying to do it the natural way, your body is just going to take its own course. And regardless, like you can cut back on some of that breastfeeding. You can night wean, or you can, go to only a couple times a day. And yeah, your period will probably come back, but it doesn't mean you're going to be pregnant in the next month either.
Right. That's true. And I will tell you that these kinds of things can go hand in hand. Because if you have a toddler, like I said, we already talked about the issue of like under 1. But if you have a toddler, and you're thinking like, okay, I want a tandem nurse and I want to try to cut back a little bit so I can get pregnant. And you want to keep that going so that you can continue to nurse through pregnancy and through, having a new baby. It's not a bad idea to practice those boundaries now anyway. With with a toddler, if you have a 1-year-old or a 2-year-old, practicing like saying no and practicing like when the time is going to be to nurse and stuff like that, because that will be helpful when you do have 2 who are wanting to nurse all the time. And I say that from experience, that I never explored any kind of boundary before Jack was born. And I had to do it when he had a new brother. And it was really, really hard. So those things can go hand in hand. If you have a toddler and you're like, yeah, okay, I'm getting ready to think about having a new baby, and, maybe cutting back will help my period come back. It's also going to help prepare for what's to come. So, yeah.
And those boundaries that can play a huge role in how your breastfeeding relationship continues too.
Well, yeah.
And you can keep having that good, positive breastfeeding relationship with boundaries. We do have a lot of episodes on boundaries, but people ask about that all the time. Like, what do I do here? I don't want to completely wean, but I want to have another baby, or I want to, kind of like feel like myself again a little bit.
Yeah. Have control over the situation.
Yeah. And that's where those boundaries come in. And they're hard. They can be hard, but they're necessary. And if you do have a baby that's feeding a lot still and through the night, and when I say baby, I mean like toddler, or, like 16 months, like the one that messaged you, boundaries are going to be important with a second baby for sure.
Oh my God.
And then sometimes people then then what do you do when you're pregnant? Like, do you think that far ahead? Do people think that far? I know you did with the tandem nursing, but I have a lot of people that have messaged me and be like, all right, I'm pregnant. I don't know if I want a tandem feed. What do I do? What happens now?
Yeah, that being pregnant is actually not a bad time to take advantage of weaning if that's what you want to do. Because I mean, this is a whole different conversation now, I guess, but your baby, even if you do want a tandem nurse, and I would expect this is what happened to me anyway, Jack nursed less because there wasn't milk. So he was comfort nursing and stuff like that, but he was nursing less overall. And if that's something you want to take advantage of in order to wean before you have the baby, that's a good time.
And then the milk change, it not only does it like really decrease, but it also changes back to colostrum. So sometimes those, your toddler might be like, what is this? I'm not sure about this. This is different. And they might wean themselves at that point.
Yeah, they might. They might really like it.
Yeah. Can go either way. Can go either way.
Yeah. But yeah, so this is a whole episode to say like, yeah, kind of patience is like what you need to do, and like sit down and really have a serious conversation with your partner about like the different ways that this could go, and what the priority is right now. And really think 6 months out, 1 year out. It's not that long if you really sit down and kind of think and plan.
Right.
Which I did not do. So now I'm talking from just a place of unsolicited advice.
But it's good advice.
Try to just think about it. What the priority is. I remember, this is one thing I do remember, was after we had Exley, so second baby, and we were somewhere at one of these conventions. Like I was speaking at one of these conventions, and I was supposed to, like, my period was late. We had come back and there was like all this chaos, and we were like, I said to Josh, I was like, my period is late. Like, what if I'm pregnant? Like, what? And we were at the moment this conversation was happening, we were getting dressed to go out the door with basically 2 toddlers. And it was horrible. Like, everyone was like screaming and crying, whatever. And I was like, what if I'm pregnant? And Josh is like, how are we ever going to leave the house? And I was like, we were freaking out, because at that point, like Exley was a toddler and we're like, okay, are we going to have another one? Are we done? Both of us only have one sibling, so we don't even have an experience with like more than 2 kids. And so we were, it was kind of like, I don't think so. But then, man, after that, we were just like, no. We know exactly how we feel about this situation. And I turned out to not be pregnant. And it was like, man, off to that vasectomy. Go ahead and schedule that appointment, because we are sure how we feel now.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Yeah. So, I mean, really thinking about these things in real time is really helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you could be me and end up saying, I want my kids close in age, and end up being twins.
Yeah.
So
can't get closer than that.
No, you can't. After, and Nathan was only a little over 1 when I decided I wanted to have another one, and ended up being 2. So I had 3 in 2 years, which, talk about being overwhelmed and outnumbered. But that was us, that's for sure. But yeah, stuff like that happens.
It does. And if you're on the quest to trying to conceive, I know nobody wants to hear be patient, but that is what you can do and what you can try to do at this point.
Yeah.
It'll happen.
It will.
It'll happen, and you'll be very excited, and then you'll be very overwhelmed, and then you'll be like, oh my God, why did we do this? No, just kidding.
And we'll be there for you.
Yeah. But thanks for listening.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.